Yes, I believe so. I mean, if you're a betting man, I said I believe so. Yes, he has the highest expectations. If you're a betting man, he is picked to be the MVP. And then he plays for the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, they're jumping through tables. They're insane. I was at Disney with my brother, all our kids, wives, and everybody. A bus pulls up to the hotel. A bunch of people get off the bus, all wearing Buffalo Bills gear. We're at Disney. Grandma gets off the bus last, looks right at me and my brother. Oh, no. You guys are going down this year. We're going to take it. I'm on vacation. I'm at Disney. I just want to ride rides. I don't want to think about Josh Allen. I don't want to think about the Buffalo Bills. But this guy, I mean, the way their season ended last year, how much we've all talked about how good of a player is, the next step, and just his trajectory, how he's been since he's came into the league. I can't find a player. I tried to. I can't find a player that has higher expectations than he has and what they have for this team this year. They're expected to go and win the Super Bowl, and that falls on Josh Allen's shoulders. So, yes, he has the biggest expectations of any player in the league this season.
Yeah, he's on Space Mountain.
Yes.
I mean, just soaring. I look back to the year 1986, and a very young, scrappy Doug Collins Bulls team went to the Boston Garden, and this number 23 from North Carolina had 63 points against the Celtics. And afterwards, Larry Bird says it wasn't Michael Jordan, you know, that was Jesus, and everyone loses their mind. They lost this game. They got swept in the series. The Bills lost to the Chiefs, but that game was Josh Allen's 63-point game. The next season, Jordan came out and averaged 37 a game. 37. It was a ridiculous season. This is that season now for Josh Allen. Because it's not just that they lost. It's this sort of poetic, very dramatic way that he sat there and watched them lose and could do nothing about it. That made such an impact on everyone psychologically. They changed the rules of the league because Josh Allen lost. They actually changed it. And as far as expectation this year, it's like, if the Bills go 10-7, it's like the sky is falling. If they lose the opener to the Rams, which they'll probably be underdogs for, the sky is falling. If he throws 2 touchdowns and a pick one weekend, oh my God, what's wrong with Josh Allen? It's incredible because I mean, and that guy he played the game of his life and couldn't get on the field at the end. What I think is interesting, the takeaway from that game is like Mahomes is never talked about in that game. And like he made a miracle and went 13 seconds, ding, 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 and it's all Josh Allen. And Mahomes is like, I won and I was incredible. And that's because the Mahomes demigod status had already been granted. We had already seen that from him. We were not surprised. And we were a little bit surprised that Josh Allen was that good. But, like, you can go across any player in the league right now, any quarterback, your Trey Lances, your Kyler Murrays, and I think it is here and the expectations for Josh Allen up here. Anything other than pure Paul Bunyan, Bo Jackson at quarterback feats, everyone's going to be like, what's wrong with Josh Allen? And he'll have to deal with that. But I think he's the answer.
This is similar to my sentiment about the Bengals. I do agree that Josh Allen has the greatest expectation on him coming into the season. But it's as if, and you said it, everyone kind of fell in love with Josh Allen in that game, on that drive. The fact that that game was taken from him and he had no way to take effect on the end of that game. America fell in love with the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and now all offseason we've been thinking that they are the team and that everybody wants them to be. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing happened to Josh Allen in that game. Yeah. They felt so badly for him. So, but like, let me run this by you, this situation, because I can play this out because you guys already won the Emmy. Like, let's say this summer, you go to the Emmys, you don't win the Emmy. Then you got to go to lunch with Tony Kornheiser, and you're like, you just got to sit there and play a round of golf with him, and then sit and yuck it up over lunch. Like, this is what Josh Allen had to deal with all offseason. Like, so what if Patrick Mahomes wasn't talked about? He had to just, like, play nice, and he had to hear it and take it and answer the question. And, like, if the expectation is high, but if his pissed offness is higher, pissed offness, is that a word? We just made it a word. Yeah. If it's not off the charts, above the expectation, then Josh Allen is not the quarterback I thought he was.
It's a great point.
It's great. It's excellent.
He's playing that golf tournament with Rodgers and Brady and Mahomes, and they're all made men, and they're busting his chops. Like, it has to, to eat at him.
Yes. I want to see you and Kornheiser out at lunch. What do you guys
playing around a golf?
Bagel and a schmear.
I don't think we're talking about Cassius Clay, a young Cassius Clay. I wasn't going to what you were eating. I just want to hear the conversation.
That's it. We would. We'd go way back. We'd talk Joe Cap and Cal football. I'm gonna go a different route here though, because as much expectation there is on Josh Allen, and as much as we want, like, if the Chargers miss the playoffs again, what are we doing with this Justin Herbert canonization also? Like, there are 7 teams in the conference that get to make the playoffs. Josh Allen's going to the playoffs. He already has gone to the playoffs. Goes to the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't sniffed it yet. I know we came close last year, but he hasn't played in a playoff game. It's okay for year 1, fire the coach, Anthony Lynn's out. It's okay for year 2, first-year coach, we're not sure. Year 3, if we're treating you like you're the same breath as Mahomes and Brady, and you're in that top 5 quarterback situation, which you are right now with Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, like, you better go to the playoffs this year. This team can't be bad this year. So much hype and so much has been granted to Justin Herbert. We have already put the crown on him. It's almost a given that he is in that conversation. And yet, for whatever reason, those big moments, the Chargers are not winning those games. Now, to Josh Allen's point, he played amazing in that final playoff game, in that final regular season game against the Raiders. Like I said, 17 pass attempts in the end of regulation, gets them into overtime. He did everything he possibly could. Yeah, you talk about expectations. If this Chargers franchise misses the playoffs yet again, I think it's one of the greatest disappointments and one of the wastes of the first 3 years of a star quarterback's career.
Can I ask you this? Chargers, 10-7. They lose in the wild card round to Baltimore.
Fine, we at least got
it.
there.
Is it? Is it fine?
Oh, yeah.
They got a top 5 quarterback.
We got there. The rub on them is that they cannot get there. That they cannot, that we grant them this emeritus status that they're one of the best teams with the best quarterback, yet every year they don't even get to the dance. There are 7 AFC teams in the playoffs. If you can't be one of them, that is really, really upsetting.
I actually think this question brings up an interesting dissection between the words expectation and potential. Because expectation implies that we saw something. We saw flashes of what, not just flashes, we saw what the Bills and Josh Allen could accomplish last season. They put themselves on that stage. The potential for the Chargers team is just that. It's just potential at this point because we haven't seen them at that level, at that stage yet. But I feel like there's a difference there. The expectation, I feel like, is greater for the Bills only because we've seen what they can do in the playoffs and the fact that they've made it there.
I think you're right, and I think back to your first point, they got to deal with this Kansas City thing.
Yeah.
Look, they beat them last year in the regular season, that's fine. But last offseason, before the season, when they had lost in the title game to Kansas City, Josh Allen said he thought about it every day. Every single day I think about that loss. Then you play another season and you lose in that way to Kansas City. And if they lose to them this year and like the Tyreek thing, because they wouldn't have lost the game last year without Tyreek. If they do it again, you have to handle that. It's just the way sports are. You got to knock the guy out. It's a big deal.
We talked about those 4 who were in that golf foursome. You can add in Joe Burrow as in the conversation as like being one of those top guys, and Russell Wilson and all these guys that have won the games. I go back to Justin Herbert because I don't want to hear your name in that best quarterback conversation if you can't.
Until you've shown something.
And
that's
to
the
that point.
like,
in that division, we've talked about, hey, could Kansas City be number 4? We've placed. The only reason we're doing that is because we've all uplifted the Chargers. When you talk about expectations, people are saying, could this team make it to the Super Bowl? Like, we're not even saying, like, hey, can they make the playoffs? And when we talk about their division, like you just said, 7 teams are going to the playoffs. But we can go down that AFC list and probably name 7 teams without including the Chargers and feel really good about it.
Hell, I just said they were the best offense in the AFC. I don't know what was happening there. No, I did. I had put my hard-earned research behind that, and
They were
it's
one
not
of the worst
arguably
defenses.
anything. Well, they have to step that up.
No doubt.